So week one's in the books for the Giants, and it did not go the way that many of us had expected. I'm sure there were maybe a few fans out there that expected a Broncos blowout victory. Now, I did tell you guys I expected the Broncos to win by a little bit. I expected a 20-17 type score, not what we just saw. And I know the final score says it was 27-13, but really the final score was pretty much it was 1 second away from being 27-7 without the garbage time touchdown, but I guess they do all count. So, yeah, there was a lot of negative in this game, but we'll try to touch on the positives first. Just start out with a positive vibe, and we'll get to all the negative stuff after, believe me. But Sterling Shepard played very well in this game. He had 7 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown. Even Kenny Golladay, I know you look at his stat line, it's 4 for 64, but I think 3 of his catches were insane. He was fully laid out, made very tough grabs. Left tackle Andrew Thomas, a lot of concerns coming into this game based on how he played in that final preseason game. And he was really good. Like, I did not notice anything bad from Andrew Thomas in this game. And if you don't hear anything from a left tackle, then that's probably a really good thing. I can't say the same for the right side, but Andrew Thomas himself played very well. Some guys on defense individually, they played well. I mean, Blake Martinez, yes, had that very crucial missed tackle for one of the Broncos touchdowns, but outside of that one play, he played phenomenal, was around the ball, making a ton of tackles. Logan Ryan had that awesome fumble recovery, and I think he had another really good play in there as well at some point. So there were some individuals on defense that played very well. I'll look at some of the defensive leaders for the Giants real quick. I mean, Logan Ryan, Blake Martinez, Bradbury had some tackles, Reggie Ragland some tackles. So, Jabril Peppers didn't really stand out too much. Even like Leonard Williams, I mean, I want to go back and watch it before I make that claim, because Leonard Williams could have been double teamed most of the time, so I do want to go back and see that first before speaking out on that. But we didn't hear Leonard Williams' name brought up too much. I remember Leo had one really key run stop. I remember that sometime in like the second quarter maybe, but outside of that, didn't hear too much about him. But overall with this game, definitely a lot of disappointments, and I'll start with the offensive line. We'll start with the offense, and we did see some rotations with Bredesen and Shane Lemieux. Shane Lemieux started, of course, but then we saw Bredesen brought in there at some point later in the game. Matt Peart and Nate Solder, they also kind of exchanged at some points as well. And Nate Solder had a very rough rep in there at one point, I believe, against Von Miller, where Von Miller basically shoved him with one hand and one arm, I should say, and he got right to Daniel Jones. I don't know if he got there for a sack or hit him right after the ball left his hands. And there was also a play where Matt Peart, I guess, didn't know the snap count or something, and like Matt Peart just let Von Miller go by him untouched. That was very ugly. So, each one of those guys had a very bad rep, and I think it resulted in either a sack or just a hit on the quarterback, so that was very bad to see. But as I mentioned, left tackle Andrew Thomas played well. That's something to build off of, so definitely a positive thing there for the former 4th overall pick last year. The run blocking wasn't great. I mean, you look at the Giants running back statistics. I don't think Saquon Barkley did too much, of course. Saquon was 10 carries and 26 yards, 2.6 per carry, and Devontae Booker was 4 carries for 7 yards, 1.8 per carry. So the offensive line didn't get too much push. I didn't notice any of the running backs like missing an obvious hole. There just wasn't much penetration up front by the Giants offensive line, unfortunately. For Daniel Jones, that's obviously another big talking point for this team. There are people that, on Twitter just made the claim of like, I'm done believing in Daniel Jones. And like, I don't know how this is the start that makes you not believe in Daniel Jones. I've seen worse from him. Of course, Tampa Bay's game last year, for instance, like this wasn't a horrendous Daniel Jones game. It wasn't a good one, but you do need more from a guy who you expect to be your franchise quarterback. I can say that. And Daniel Jones, looking at his numbers, yes, some of this were inflated because of the final drive and some of the, the padding the stats and all that. He was 22 for 37, 267, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Almost had an interception in there at one point. He also lost a fumble. That was a big turning point in this game. So the Broncos go up 17-7, I believe, in the third quarter. Giants are driving, putting together a nice drive. Daniel Jones does the right thing. There's a passing play. He steps up in the pocket, realizes nothing's open, takes off. Daniel Jones has both, arms around the ball. Somehow when he gets hit, the ball comes loose, Broncos recover, and that pretty much killed all momentum for the Giants offense right there. So Daniel Jones had another crucial fumble. Now I can't 100% blame Daniel Jones because he had both hands on the ball. Once again, it wasn't like he was just running like this, like LaShawn McCoy used to on the Eagles or something. But he tried to do what he could. Unfortunately, it got knocked away. Of course, he has to fix that somehow, but I didn't really notice him being careless with the ball. I'll put it that way. He didn't run as much as I would like to. Daniel Jones, rushing-wise, was 6 carries, 27 yards, had the touchdown, of course, late, but Yeah, I mean, he could have used his legs more, in my opinion. There were definitely some options for these read option plays that the Giants just did not even try, so that was kind of annoying to see. Could be more of a coaching thing, but Daniel Jones probably could have ran more than we saw in this game. And there were like about 3 or 4 really nice throws that Daniel Jones had in this game, but also like 3 or 4 really bad ones. I mean, even ones that were completed. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this one. There was one where Devontae Booker, either in the first or second quarter, had a ball that was supposed to be like a check down, and it was thrown behind him, and Devontae Booker had to one-hand the ball. And it was a great catch by Devontae Booker, but even that was like just a bad throw by Daniel Jones. And he also had one that was nearly intercepted by Justin Simmons in the back of the end zone, or actually, no, right on the goal line, I should say. But yeah, he had a couple of just throws that got away from him, I guess you can say. As for the receiving core, I mean, as I said, Sterling Shepard, Kenny Golladay played well. Darius Slayton looked okay at some points, and some points the drops showed up. I think he had a couple drops in this game. One of them might have been jarred loose by a defender, but just a typical Darius Slayton type game. Slayton actually opened up with a big catch on the first drive. That was like one of the biggest things, and that's part of like the annoying part about this game, is that the Giants had such a good start offensively on the first drive. They start off with a explosive play, probably like a 40-something yard throw down the right sideline. Daniel Jones lays it perfectly for Darius Slayton. I think he got tripped up. He almost scored a touchdown there. And, basically the Giants have the ball at like the Broncos, like 30-yard line, somewhere around there in field goal range. Then I think they run this horrible sweep running play to Kadarius Toney, who loses 8 yards. And then I think there was like a run play for no gain, then an incompletion, and the Giants were forced to punt. So right there, the Giants should have been off to a 3-0 lead. Of course, they got nothing on that first drive. That was definitely going to come back to haunt them. Now, of course, 3 points would not have changed the final outcome here, but still, there was a point in this game, even halftime, where this game was close. I think at halftime the score might have been, I'm trying to think what the score was. It probably was like, I think we had 7 and Denver may have had 10 or 13. Like, it was it was a one possession game at halftime, and that was something that could have changed the game right there, of course. And when we got to the second half, Denver they kind of took off, especially in the fourth quarter. After that Melvin Gordon run, I don't know how long that run was, but Melvin Gordon had that big run down the left sideline, and that was pretty much when the game was over. We'll get into that later, of course, when we get to the defense. But we didn't see much from a guy like Kyle Rudolph. He was 2 catches, 8 yards. CJ Board had a garbage time catch. Gary Brightwell, garbage time catch. So nothing really out of the receivers. And Kadarius Toney didn't do too much. He had 2 receptions, -2 yards. And that's pretty much it for Kadarius Toney. So we didn't see too much of him. I thought we would see more, but not too much, unfortunately. For the Giants defense, where was the pressure? I mean, that was the rough part about this defense. And I talked about it in the pregame show, or I don't know if it's a show, but the pregame video about, the Giants and Broncos have similar-ish type rosters. But the Broncos had an established offensive line that I thought was somewhere from league average to pretty good. They're probably somewhere from like 10 to 15 ranked in the NFL. And the Giants' offensive line, you can argue, is bottom 5 in the NFL. So that's where the big discrepancy with the Giants and Broncos offense was. Of course, Teddy Bridgewater, Daniel Jones. Some people think Daniel Jones is way better. Some people think Teddy Bridgewater is way better. I think those guys are closer than people may think. And after today, I think it gets a little closer. I would slightly maybe put Daniel Jones ahead, but it's close. It's not like one guy's much better than the other when it comes to the quarterback position. But the offensive line for the Denver Broncos is much better than the New York Giants. And we saw that on passing plays when Teddy Bridgewater had 3, 4, 5 seconds sitting in the pocket. He would sit in the pocket, throw a crosser to Noah Fant, because no one on this team can guard Noah Fant. I went over that in the pregame as well, how I was concerned about guarding their athletic tight end Noah Fant, who runs a 4.5, and we had definitely some problems covering him. Even their other tight end, Albert O, I can't say his last name, but I'll call him, I think people in college call him Albert O. He had some catches as well in this game. And even like KJ Hamler was left wide open at some points. And I do want to go back and dive into the game more, as I said, and kind of go back and watch it again. But one of the parts that really annoyed me about this game was I feel like every time the Giants were in zone defense, it just made it so easy for Teddy Bridgewater, because there was no pass rush and the Broncos receivers just found the open holes on defense, and it was just easy pitch and catch. You'd find Cortland Sutton for a catch, Jerry Jeudy before he got hurt. I mean, that sucks. That sucks for the Broncos. I mean, I think he's out for 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8, whatever it is, but it sucks for Jerry Jeudy. Hopefully he recovers quickly, but just too many easy, just dink and dunk type things, for 10 yards, and they would find the open part in the zone. And once again, I do want to go back and watch it before being totally critical about the Giants game plan, but it just comes down to not enough pass rush. I mean, once again, to expect Leonard Williams to get 11 and a half sacks again is probably unrealistic. He had to get more pressures in this game. Dexter Lawrence may have had a couple in this game pressures. We saw Azeez Ojulari a few times get in there. He had one sack, got his first sack. Austin Johnson had a sack that was more of a coverage sack, I believe. So some guys got some pressures, but like nobody was finishing the job, and Teddy Bridgewater did a great job on multiple occasions of hanging in the pocket as long as he could. And I think a lot of the Giants fan base kind of disrespected Teddy Bridgewater and thought that he was garbage. And I think Teddy Bridgewater is like a competent bridge quarterback. Like, he's fine. If you put Teddy Bridgewater in you put him on a good team with good surrounding players, I mean, he'll be fine. Once again, a pretty good offensive line. They have good weapons. Teddy Bridgewater can definitely thrive on a team like Denver. Can he thrive on the Giants? Probably not, because their surroundings are not that good, and that's why I feel bad for Daniel Jones. And I've said this before about Daniel Jones. I tweeted this last week. I was never a believer that Daniel Jones was uber talented himself. When Daniel Jones was taken out of Duke, I was like, this guy's kind of boring. He doesn't really do much. That's great. But Daniel Jones is an average quarterback. But, if the Giants do nothing to put Daniel Jones in a position to succeed, it just pisses me off. And you see Jason Garrett with the same bullcrap route concept. So let's do the curls and, let's not be creative once again. Let's do there was a play where they were like 2nd and 16 injured. I think it was on the first drive, actually. The first drive when they were like 2nd and 18 after the Kadarius Toney, mishap on the end around that went terrible. They did like a 2nd and 18 draw play. And I was like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, you have to get some chunk plays or, at least do like a dump off and get 6 to 8 yards. Don't do a freaking draw that gets you 1 yard or no gain. It's just stuff like that. So the Giants did nothing or do nothing for Daniel Jones to help him out. So I do feel bad, and I kind of envy the situation that Teddy Bridgewater's in right now for the Broncos, of course. So the Giants had a lot of problems getting off the field on defense on 3rd and 4th down. Now, if you combine the Broncos' 3rd and 4th down conversion rates, they were 10 for 18 total. So there were so many times where it was a 3rd and medium, 3rd and short, and you just felt like the Broncos were going to get it because Teddy Bridgewater had 4 or 5 seconds to sit in the pocket. It was very frustrating. So maybe the Giants should have played some more man defense and dialed up some more blitzes. If Patrick Graham can go back in time, maybe he would do that, because the Giants' conservative approach of keeping everything in front of you on defense wasn't really working out. Denver did a good job of converting in the red zone. I don't know what their conversion rate was, but they did a good job once they got down there. So, on defense, some of the positives, as I mentioned, Logan Ryan, Blake Martinez, of course, that Albert O touchdown that Blake Martinez missed the tackle on was huge. I think McKinney also got in the face of Teddy Bridgewater, and Bridgewater kind of was able to push him off enough and get a pass out to the tight end. They scored a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, it was disappointing. I mean, the spread of this game was like the Giants were a plus 2.5. It was supposed to be a close game, and just to come out here and just get your doors blown off at home. Day after 9/11, the first Giants home game with fans since late 2019, and you come out here and put out this garbage on the field. It's unbelievable. And you have fans leaving the stadium in the fourth quarter, early fourth quarter, mid fourth quarter. It's just like, how much more of this can John Mara watch? Like, I'm not going to sit here and call for people's jobs after week 1. I'm not going to try and overreact too much, but like, how much more of this can you see? Now, looking forward, the Giants may have gotten the break here. I don't know how you want to look at it, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, the starting quarterback for Washington, and by the way, I will make a pregame video for that Washington game on Thursday. I'll probably make that video like Tuesday or something. Yeah, I'll probably make it Tuesday for that game, because it's a quick turnaround here, and that's kind of a positive. When you play like crap, you want to have a quick turnaround, kind of get it out of your mind, and hopefully the Giants can go on the road in Washington and go 1-1. And I did say, if the Giants lose this game, Thursday becomes a must-win. Obviously, they won't be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but in my mind, the Giants have to go out there and win that game. Now, Atlanta, who we play in week 3, they looked like crap today. They lost to Philadelphia, unfortunately. They look terrible. We play the Saints, who killed the Packers in week 4. So, like, just looking ahead, there's going to be like 1 or 2 kind of easy-ish matchups, but the rest are pretty hard the first half of the year. So the Giants, in my opinion, can't afford to lose on Thursday. The Giants are not going to get Ryan Fitzpatrick, it sounds like. It sounds like they're going to get Taylor Heineke, who's not really a pushover himself. He played well in the playoffs last year, was actually low-key kind of close to beating the Buccaneers last year. He came into this game halfway through today, and I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I don't think Heineke played that bad. He made some plays for Washington. He definitely has some mobility. So, Heineke's not he's not the worst quarterback in football, but I feel like it's a bit of a downgrade from Ryan Fitzpatrick. So the Giants definitely benefited there. But in terms of this game, it was disappointing. I mean, I expected to come out here and compete. I thought this game was winnable. I don't look at the Broncos as a juggernaut in the NFL. We're not playing the Kansas City Chiefs here. It's the Broncos. I figured this should be a close game, but, and even Logan Ryan, I should read this, I think. This was an interesting quote. Logan Ryan just had it before, and I put it, I took a picture of it, a screenshot, and this is according to Ryan Dunleavy. He got this quote from Logan Ryan. Logan Ryan said, "We've got to be better. I believe the Broncos defense probably would have been bad too if they played longer." So basically, Logan Ryan is criticizing the Giants offense. That's the way I look at it, at least. I mean, I'm not trying to speak for him, but based on reading that, it looks like Logan Ryan's kind of criticizing the Giants offense for not being on the field long enough. And I will look at the possession battle real quick for you guys. I mean, I have it written down somewhere over here. So the possession battle was 35 minutes and 8 seconds to 24 minutes and 52 seconds. So, of course, the Broncos won that. And it's not the worst possession battle ever. I mean, the Giants, obviously, you don't want to be on the field for 24 minutes offensively. You want to do better than that. But I've seen worse. It's not terrible. But like the Giants just have no run game most times. Their offensive line just can't get any run blocking lanes open for these guys. Even a talent like Saquon Barkley, I know it was his first game back, and the Giants just have problems just moving the ball. And especially when they get to the red zone, things kind of die for them. So like the Giants have a problem staying on the field offensively, putting up points on the board offensively. And yes, we expected a slow start offensively, but like, even their defense, like how do you give up 27 points to the Broncos, who, once again, I respect them as a team, but they should not come into your home building week 1 and put up 27 on you with a new quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. And I know Bridgewater played for Pat Shurmur for 3 or 4 years in Minnesota, knows the system kind of well, but like still, 27 points. It's just too much. It's Denver even lost Jerry Jeudy halfway through the game as well. So it's just it's not what you want to see. So it's just disappointing, and they got to go out there and win week 2. That's pretty much all I can say. So I'm not going to sit here and freak out. If they lose Thursday, I may get into one of those classic rants about this team and where they're at right now, but for now I'm not going to do that. I don't know if I like their chances to win Thursday based on what I saw today, but like still, I mean, Washington's going to be hungry. They were close with the Los Angeles Chargers the whole game. Right now, Washington's a better team than us, I will say that, but, it's any given game, can't say Sunday, any given Thursday in that situation. Hopefully they can go out there and win that game, but they have to be a lot more crisp offensively. They can't play a Washington defense that's that good. And even William Jackson, one of their big offseason signings, got a pick today. He was a corner they signed from the Bengals. He got an interception. They're clicking defensively. I know that Justin Herbert made some plays against them, but they are clicking defensively. We don't have the type of offense and the firepower that the Chargers have. So I fear for what the Giants' offense is going to be in a game like that against the defense of Washington. It definitely does scare me. So we'll find out what happens Thursday. Once again, I'll have a pregame on Tuesday, but just disappointing. I mean, this team has started off 1-0 one time in the last decade. It's the same crap, different year. I treated that as well. It's just this game had too much of the same crap, different year type vibes to it. Like, even myself, who as pessimistic as I am about this team, even I kind of had some high-ish, not high, but like just I had more expectations than the past 3 years. Like 2018, I didn't think that team was going to be that good. 2019, definitely not. 2020, I projected 6-10 last year, so it wasn't that high. This year, though, I think 8 or 9 wins was possible. Now, I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the year goes, but like it hurts even more when you expect your team to win these games or be close and just get their asses handed to them in week 1 on their home field. I mean, once again, I could see if it was in Denver or something, playing at Mile High in September is tough. I completely get that, but like this was bad for a home game. So you can't have it. So once again, we'll find out what happens Thursday, but leave in the comments how you feel about this game. Let's give Daniel Jones a bit of a more chance here. I understand if you want to be done with him, but realistically, what are you going to do? You're going to bench him for Mike Glennon? Like, come on, we're not doing that. So it's going to be Daniel Jones for this foreseeable future here. If he's that bad, maybe they go to Mike Glennon at some point, but he's going to be the Giants starter for the next at least few games or so. For Jason Garrett, I don't know how safe his job is. I have no idea. I really think if they are that bad on Thursday, I think there's a world where Jason Garrett might not see week 3. I mean, I've said this before as well. If they don't put up points against the Falcons defense, a terrible Falcons defense, that might be it for Jason Garrett too. So that's a guy his seat's getting very warm, I will say that. So I don't have any sources on that, but based on what I'm watching and the expectations and John Mara being pissed, I can definitely see Jason Garrett like kind of getting the boot here if things don't go well offensively. So that'll do it. Leave in the comments how you feel about this game. Disappointing. It sucked. Hopefully we'll go out there Thursday and get to 1-1.